So, where's the story up to this time? This week has been, I've actually had some quite good news and quite some entertaining developments that have gone on with what's going to happen with the world record attempt. So, last time I did one of these videos, there was one which is hidden away, which will get released. But this last 10 days or so of training, um, like it has been with previous attempts at doing this, it's been all indoors. So I haven't actually ridden much outside in terms of on a bike, apart from 2 occasions or 3 occasions, and I'll go through those. So last week was a week when I did Monday doing intervals, Tuesday doing 5 hours, Wednesday did recovery, followed by Thursday doing intervals, Friday doing intervals. Got to Saturday, and it was a case of there was the huge anguish in my head. Oh, Anna's away doing an ultra distance, the lap, the running event. So it came to a huge dilemma of, do I go to park run and just wander and have an easy casual? Do I do park run and just park run, or do I do a park run with an extension around it? The various options. So anyway, I decided that I was going to go to park run and do the extended version of it, which I did do, and I'm glad I did. Even though my legs were fatigued, it was nice to do a crossover. So that was that week. That takes me on to the weekend. So on Sunday, it was family and all the rest of it. So this Monday, right, Monday, breaking my brain completely, because normally I like my routines. I used to always ride on a set night. Always. It was my set night. At one point, it used to be Wednesdays, and then it took a long time for me to adjust and go on to Thursdays. Then I had to readjust again and go on to Tuesdays, and now I had to readjust again. I'm on Mondays. So it's completely thrown me out. But anyway, doing it on the Monday, I did 5 hours. And the good thing is that I can see that in my data I'm getting greater comfort and getting greater endurance, but also my heart rate efficiency is going up. I'm developing more watts of power per heart rate. I'm maintaining a higher 80% threshold, so my FTP is going up. Everything is going in the right direction, which is all fantastic. That's all the good stuff. So Monday night was a good night. Got off the bike at the end, obviously fatigued and all the rest of it. Jumped into bed, did all the usual recovery, blah, blah, blah. Then on Tuesday, I wasn't really motivated to do the lunchtime recovery. What I had been doing on Wednesdays, it was now doing on Tuesday. So I took Rufus out on the mountain bike instead, which was great fun. It was quite nice to just do a casual bimble around and go over ruts and bumps and things. My mountain bike is rubbish. It's nearly a death trap. It's called Frankenstein's bastard son of a bike because it's cobbled together with so many parts. It rattles and all the rest of it. Did a few fixes, but it does the job. It's great fun. I even rode that to London on Canal Towpath in the floodwater, but that's beside the point. Wednesday was going to be a day when I was doing training with work, so I didn't do any riding at all. I was at a white water centre, but I didn't get a chance to use a boat. It would have been lovely if I could have done. Then Thursday, I was due to be in the office because I was having suppliers on site. So on Thursday, this is where things start to get exciting. Thursday morning commute, I used that as a training session. So I jumped on the bike, commuting bike, but because it's got a power meter and all the rest of it, I can then do it as almost like an interval session to try and get down to work. So I did that on the way down. While I was at work, part of the WUCA rules is that I have to have real world data in terms of what's my aerodynamic drag compared to my speed versus power. And to do that, you need good test conditions, so you need to make yourself as aerodynamic and slippery as possible. I've been incurring and accruing bits and pieces to go towards that objective. But part of it is, well, where do I do this testing? Where can I do it that's safe, controlled, repeatable, supportive? So that's what I was thinking. There are a couple of places that are around this locality, this region, where I've got some of those conditions, but things like there's traffic lights at a certain point, or do I want to be going down dual carriageways at the wrong time of day? I've got to do it in the time that I've got available, so I'm not going to take more time off work to do it. So I was thinking of different things. I was Googling a few stuff and bits and pieces, And then part of my thought was there is a former airfield, I won't declare what it is or where it is anyway, that does experience days on fast cars, so your Lamborghinis, your Ferraris and all that kind of stuff. But they've got a track. So I was like, well, looking at what time they close, I've finished work, could I go to them or find out more about, could I borrow their track? So I went out there, and of course it was closed up. So I did a lap of the track, and it seems like quite a nice track. It seems really quite appealing. Then there's a fella who was outside a hangar, which, as I got to where his car was, you could see there's a lot of sports cars inside. He knows something. So I chatted to him. And I managed to find out that if I wish to, I can use their test track on Sundays, which is it's amazing. So what it means is that the weather recently has been a bit windy, so it's going to be trying to find a calm day to do it. But it means that what I can now start to do is do all the aerodynamic testing on a private racetrack. It's going to be just me, which is bonkers. But anyway, I will go there, and there's certain T's and C's and all the rest of it that I've got to abide by. It's not open to the general public, so I'm not going to say go there and all the rest of it. But it's fantastic for him to say, yes, you can use it. He will notify that there's going to be this crazy cyclist going round in loops on his test track. So I get to do that. So I was trying to work out scheduling, and myself and Anna sat down. We've got a test event that I need to do in 10 days' time, and that will be almost like a dry run, so 2 16-hour days back to back. So it means that I ideally want to get some of the test dates before that, which means that this Sunday, I don't know what the weather's going to be like. It might be slightly breezy, but I'm going to go and take the time trial bike and then go and do some time on the track to try and get my first initial real world data. If I can get enough data that is sufficient for the WUCA rules, that'd be brilliant, that'd be good, but I'm not banking on it. I'm actually thinking that I'm going to have to do the testing, the initial testing, work stuff through, do the test event, the 2 16-hour days, and then at a certain point in the future I'm going to have to go back to the track and do another set of data to really nail it and get it all sorted. But I need to start somewhere. I don't want to go to that second test session and then find teething troubles. I want to get them out of the way this weekend. So that's what I got. That's the first big thing. Then second bit, performance hydration and fueling. They do something. Anna put me onto this because it was part of a podcast she listens to, and you can get a free consultation. So this afternoon I've just done the 20-minute consultation that was longer than normal because of a slightly different story to some of, I think, their normal stories. So he's given me lots of ideas and lots of important bits of food for thought in terms of carbohydrate per hour that I need to be consuming. So I need to be consuming roughly about 60 grams of carbohydrate per hour, and what form that's going to be in. There's things like food fatigue, which is a very real thing, that you get bored of the same food again and again and again. But the food matrix that I'm starting to work out in terms of what materials, what food, so what carbohydrates is going to go in simple forms compared to what's going to be complex forms. So in terms of your on-bike fueling, using bottles, gels, gummy bears, sweets, all that kind of stuff, compared to doing it as the food stops, which is the more substantial foods, and how that goes in. Some of the things that I had thought about, he challenged in a good way. So things like porridge with syrup and all the rest of it, in effect, what that's going to do is it's actually going to sit in my stomach for the first hour of each day and be... So it's going to take time to absorb. So the way to think about it is not to think about it as lunch, dinner and tea is carbohydrate. All rules are off. So that means that if it's going to be custard and crumble for breakfast, it's custard and crumble for breakfast because it'll get absorbed and it'll go in. As long as it settles and it sits in the stomach well for breakfast, I can go for that. And then I can get into the routines, and then I can do the breaks, and then I can separate it out. Go for the sweet, the savoury and the salty. Almost have 3 colour-coded bins that will be there, my options, and I can pick which one is a requirement at what point. schedule almost like a menu per day of what my options are and what I think is going to be the win in 2 hours time. What will I be looking forward to? Or an hour's time, what will I be looking forward to? How does that fit into the process? So that's one thing that I'm going to start working on developing, and then putting the meal plan together to what that will look like. And then if the calorific number is less important, it's more about how it's absorbed and how it's going in, and trying to prevent gastric stress. As a number, it's roughly 9,600 or so calories per day per 24-hour period, which is sizable. As we were discussing on the nutrition call, or the nutrition or fueling call, depends on how you view it, most people look at a window where 60 to 90 minutes before the activity, you go through your loading absorption. And then you've got a window at the end, which is another 70 to 90 minutes, where you want to try and make sure that you absorb back in again everything that you've burnt, or replenishing it at least and restocking. Realistically, I'm going to be doing 15 hours per day, which means that the remainder of that time, doing off-bike stuff, I want to be resting or sleeping. Sleeping is going to be the big one. The more sleep I can get, the better. That's the way that I view it, which means that I'm not going to have those windows of before and after to absorb. So it's going to be managing that in the best way possible. Also, things like management of water loss and dehydration. Having a set of scales. I'm going to have a set of scales anyway for working out my mass per day. But having a set of scales where I can step on them at lunch and when I get off the bike at the end of the day, so I can see how much fluid change there has been over that time period. It's going to be a bit of a game and a gamble. There's going to be parts of it which is going to be, how do I make sure that I have enough fuel that's going in? And I know that there's going to be bad points. I know that there's going to be mentally bad points, and I know fueling wise there's going to be bad points. I know that mentally, normally 3 or so days in, your mental agility crashes. It is hard. I know there's going to be gastric stress, and I want to push that gastric stress as late into the week as possible. And then you almost got like two lines on the graph. One's going to go up that way and one's going to go down that way. The one that's going up is going to be your total distance, and the one which is going down is the amount of available energy that you have to complete this. And you kind of want to make it so that energy level hits rock bottom at the end of the 7th day, not any point earlier. So anything I can do to keep it that downward trend high as possible before the dive, that's going to be the aim of the game. That's going to be making sure that I've got the carbohydrate and everything else. Like we discussed on the call, was the idea that some of it's going to be very bland. There's going to be a lot of beige. That's things like noodles, rices, all the rest of it that's going to be going in, but also the cucumbers, cucumber salads with a light dressing, that kind of stuff, to make sure that the stomach doesn't get bored, or your taste buds don't get bored. So that's going to go on the menu as well. Also things like having a routine of, here is a box that I have to consume, or my objective is to empty that box in the next 2-hour session, and then the following 2-hour session another box will then come up which will have the next ration, the next portion. So that will be the amount of carbohydrate that's in the energy gels and the bottles that get me through from a major meal to a major meal, and then a portion which is for flavour, taste, variety, that kind of stuff. The idea is also not to go too heavy on the fibre, or if I do have the beans and the proteins, make sure particularly the beans are towards the end of the day, not earlier on in the day. Then it means that it's going to have better digestion through the day. Okay, but that's been pretty cool. It's been a heavy week this week. My training score is pretty high. My fatigue level. This morning I did my last training session, so I did intervals, I did amalgam on Zwift, and then followed by a pace bot to do distance and time and take some of the fatigue out of the legs. But fatigue was fairly high. It did get to the point where one of the intervals I couldn't quite nail it. earlier in the week I would have been able to do it. Well, not straight after 5 hours on Monday night, but the other times I've been able to nail that one. I haven't done it this time because it's been fatigue. I had got the intention that I'd go and do a park run tomorrow morning, but I think that's going to be sidelined because of family activity with kids sleeping over, the activities, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. Don't sound dismissive of my family, but it's kind of like I know that there is other parts of life which are extremely important. However, the Sunday morning, I'm really looking forward to what this is going to be like on the test track. It's going to be the first time I actually get to take the time trial bike on a closed route and really nailing it in. So that's pretty exciting. That's going to be pretty unique. I'll see if I can get some images and photos, but it's likely it's just going to be me. Other things that have come is after various sizes of helmets that haven't fitted. One thing which I have got in the office at the moment is I've got time trial helmet. That will help. Then there's I've got an aero suit from a number of years ago. I need to see whether that still fits. I think my weight has changed a little bit, my composition has changed a little bit, but hopefully it'll still fit. If not, it's my most aerodynamic splits in terms of shorts and shorts and jersey. I've got aero socks to go. One of the things that will impact your CDA, your coefficient of drag, is how much hair you have. So it's going to be naked mole rat time. And maybe by the time I do one of the further updates, this is going to disappear. And then it might have to be reintroduced or grown back once I've done all the rest of the data, and then I can go back to being hairy again for the rest of my 44th year. But that's where I am at the moment. That's pretty exciting. I think that's been a really good week. I think it's been tough. Chocker but it has brought some of the things that I've been concerned about and the rest of it into focus more, and it's kind of all fallen into place. Still a lot of work to go, but yeah, that's pretty cool. So that's my update. That's what I've got for this week.